Hey, man.
Hey, how are you?
I am good. A little
Good.
chilly in my house today. It's the temperature's gotten lower, and we've been hesitant to just jack up the heater, the thermostat. So we've been living in a little bit colder house, but I like it.
I'm sure you do. You're so much like my wife. Y'all like living in a freezer.
Yep, pretty much.
Gotta get used to it. Well, I don't feel like I've been here lately
I
because
know.
I've been here lately. I've been
You've
traveling.
been going all over the place. Before we jump into it, I want to ask you what you've been doing. But before we jump into that, I just want to thank everybody for being here. If you're in the conversation today, this is a Q&A. So our monthly Q&A session. If you have questions you'd like us to get into and answer, make sure you drop those in the comments. And if you're coming in, please give us a like, thumbs up, or the hearts, the whole thing, so that the Google and Facebook gods will be pleased. Okay, with that, I'm going to jump right in with the first question. What the heck have you been up to, man? You've been gone traveling, and you're about to do a whole bunch more. But I'm just curious to give everybody an update for what you've been doing.
Well, I try to do a lot of my travel in the fall because normally in the fall, all of our clients are really busy, and so we're not as busy. That has not been true this year. It's been kind of a weird fall, but I did have to stop and go out and see my kids, my grandkids, because I hadn't seen them. I hadn't seen them since last Thanksgiving when they all came out here. And both my sons and daughter-in-laws have built houses this year.
Yeah.
One is done, the other one's not quite done. So we were able to go out and do that and spend some time. And I did get on the Facebook side when Lou was on. So I wasn't on as this, but I did get on kind of as a guest, try to help you out a little bit. And then last week, I actually went through Business Made Simple. I don't know if anybody here knows that. Don Miller is a very esteemed business coach, and I've been following him for years and years and years. I've taken lots of his courses, gone through. He's helped our business tremendously, and I finally made the decision to get my certification as a business coach. So I am now a fully certified Business Made Simple coach. That's awesome. I did that last week, and just working on that certification. So I'm really excited. It's actually we're gonna put that in with the business a little bit, and it's a little bit different. It's really not marketing focused the way that we do marketing. So hopefully we'll do some things. Here's the reason I decided to do it. If anybody's just curious, I get these inquiries all the time. Like I've had 3 this week that hopefully if we get into it, if nobody has questions, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I can't tell you how many times people get in touch with us and they think they have a marketing problem. And after I go through a bunch of things and ask them some things and listen and whatever, what I find out is, while, yeah, they may have a marketing problem, they have a bigger problem in their business. And it doesn't matter if they're brand new, if they've been in business for 15 years, 30 years, I don't care. They've got other problems in their business, and they're trying to solve them all with leads. And that's not really the way that you solve all problems. So that's the why. And it's funny, there were 4 of us that have marketing companies in this course. All of us said the same thing.
Yeah, we've talked about it for years that we sit in a very privileged spot as marketing partners with clients and people that want to work with us. And by privileged, I mean, the conversations we get into are not just about, get me more customers, get me more leads, but, they end up getting into, because we're not maybe the typical marketing company. It's great to hear that other marketers are saying the same thing that you've been saying and I've been saying, but we're not typical in that it's just about give us a check every month and we're going to send you a bunch of leads and just keep your pipeline full. We really care about our clients and the money that they spend, because they pay us a lot of money, and to just keep them addicted to those leads without solving underlying problems that make their marketing a lot more expensive than it really needs to be, because they're not capturing all the value out of it that we can give them. It means that you've got to have tough conversations sometimes about operations in the office, about some of the things that you're doing that shoot yourself in the foot, that are causing a lot of problems, and these hidden things. They're not, I mean, not hidden maybe, but they're potholes. And what's the term you use a lot, besides potholes?
Blind spots, just
Yeah, blind spots
and potholes and things that we don't see. And a lot of times, let me tell you, and I'm guilty of this too. So this is not oh, I own a business and I'm perfect at all. I'm so guilty of this and have been in the past, but I'm learning it. The older I get, that it's just stupid when you just lie to yourself.
Hmm.
But we do that. We want to lie to ourselves mainly for two reasons. And hold on just a minute. Chuck, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your thoughts there. It was huge. It's a big commitment. Anyway, we do lie to ourselves, and a lot of times we lie to ourselves and we think it's the truth. We really believe it's the truth.
Well, I can tell myself a story that I believe
Oh,
100%, and later on, in a moment of real honesty, I'm like, man.
oh yeah. And none of us get away with not doing that either. I mean, I think that's the really greatest thing, that when you've had a business, anybody that's had a business that tells me, oh yeah, I started a business, I never had a problem, I've never had an issue, I've done nothing but just make money. Just make money. It's been smooth sailing, and my life is absolutely friggin' fantastic. My deal would be, I don't even want to talk to you about your business. I don't, because that is not my experience. And my guess is you got problems hidden somewhere, because I don't know anybody that's perfect. I just don't know.
I mean, that's the nature of business, and one of the reasons that I love it and hate it all at the same time is it reveals. I mean, it's maybe the most, in our modern society, it is the thing that tests your mettle more than almost any other activity outside of maybe child raising. I mean,
Yeah.
parenting is one of those things that shows you your weaknesses really quick. But it's also business. I mean, nothing gets to the quick of your capabilities and your shortfalls and your weaknesses and your strengths, like business. It's a roller coaster. I mean, it really is sometimes. But
one of the statements that one of the people make, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true, was this: is whatever your personal weakness is your business weakness. And I thought about that, and what that has been really, really true. So that's why it's so important to go through a lot of personal growth. If you want to have a really strong business, you have to go through the personal struggles and growth and figure yourself out, because your business really is a reflection of you. And it's just so true.
yeah. Well, I'm excited about what you're doing with the coaching. I like your focus. I mean, the people that you want to help. You and I talk all the time about, should we go after the really big fish, like out in, the 50 to 250 truck operations and HVAC and electrical and plumbing. But we just have such a sweet spot and a heart for people who are earlier in their business process of getting things set up and running. We love coming into a business early when, systems and processes are still being figured out, and really getting to help that person. And it seems like that's where you really want to focus with coaching.
Yeah, it is. I like, well, first and foremost, in service businesses, which is where we really concentrate a lot of Spark Marketer. One of the things I like about it is you're getting in the business to where you can really make a difference. And when you have marketing, and marketing is a big part of a business. I'm not trying to say what we do is diminished by all the other things you have to have. But if you look at your business as an airplane, marketing is one of the engines. So marketing is an engine, sales is another engine. But if you're flying around and you've got these two engines, I'm gonna see if I can do it right here, get where I can get my hands in there. And these two engines are going, and one's not working, and one is. All right. Then what you do is you end up doing a lot of this kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because one's working and one's not. So, the pilot, which is you navigating your business, then you're always having to correct. And if you can't correct, then the pilot's a problem. There's your leadership. So there's, all of it works hand in hand. And so there are things that you absolutely have to have, and just some criteria in there. So, but I'm not and I'm never going to represent myself as somebody that has ever built a home service business, and I can go in and tell you where to find all your waste and all that kind of stuff. That's really not what my forte is. My parents were both teachers, and I'm a really good instructor, and so my forte is really kind of digging in and talking about and helping people learn the basis of business. And I see that there's a real void in that in home service, not just in chimney, but I've seen it in HVAC and plumbing and all this, because it's that old deal, out of what's the book that talks about the technician going into.
Yeah. The
So I know, I just,
entrepreneurial myth, or
yeah, it's the myth book,
E-Myth
but
Revisited.
it's
E-Myth.
the
Yeah.
myth. Yeah. Um, and it really is true. If you could be a great technician and open up a business and kind of be lost. And so that's really what I like is, I love just having those conversations and helping people kind of navigate their way. And then, once they get into those areas that they're so big, then other coaches, hopefully can take over. I'm never going to be, at this point, at least. I may later on in some other businesses that I've know a lot about too. But in the home service business, I think that's probably a pocket that I'll stay in that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Cool. Well, man, I'm excited to see what you do with it, and I know it's going to help a lot of our clients.
yeah,
Just the some of the skills and things that you've kind of polished up with going through the certification process. So we've kind of, you especially, have always done this with our clients, but to go through the process to formalize it and get the certification is pretty exciting. So
yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be doing some webinars here, probably right after the first of the year, and just free and just for anybody that wants to come in. And yeah, I've got a business assessment people can take, and so yeah, it'll be fun. We'll get it all set up, and I'll release it to the world.
awesome. So this isn't the typical Q&A. We're kind of asking ourselves some questions, but and talking about some things that just to catch everybody up on what's going on. I had something happen this week I wanted to just kind of make an announcement about and tell everybody kind of the story behind it. So a funny thing happened on the way to launching Customer Engine and getting that going. So the history of Customer Engine is this. It started as a product called Retention Engine in our business that was a communications automation solution that really was intent on solving and helping home service offices, business offices, and the people answering the phones and communicating with customers to help them with some of the things that we could automate around that. It's grown and become kind of something much bigger than that. And so we needed a name for the new version of the product. And it really did more than just focus on the retention side of things. I mean, it's a whole lot more than that now. So, we just kind of needed a name to get started, and was like, well, we've used Engine before. I mean, we've got we've got retention engine, we had the Spark review engine. I think there was another engine in there somewhere, but
there's no telling. We've had a lot of engines.
we use that analogy in our business quite a
Yeah.
bit. The engines that power your business and marketing, and how it can be an engine for your business to take you where you want to go. And so it was like, well, of course. I mean, we're just going to dip back into that same pool and come up with another engine. And Customer Engine seemed like the perfect fit for that. So once we decided on it and made that quick decision, because we needed a name in order to get it spun up and going, I went out and did a domain name check, and customerengine.com was available. And but it was one of those aftermarket sales where somebody had purchased it, but they wanted to sell it for a whole lot more money, and they wanted like $7,000-8,000 for it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to spend that kind of money yet. But it's good to know that it's available, and because of that, I feel good about at least starting with the name. And so we bought another one, CustomerEngine.app, and we started out there and got things launched and got really focused on product. And I hadn't thought much about the brand until just the other day, this beginning of the week. I went to go, clean some things up, and was looking, and went to go check if CustomerEngine.com was still available, and it wasn't. I was like, it's not even for sale. Uh-oh. So I went and looked, and sure enough, there's another company out there selling a product called Customer Engine. It doesn't do what ours does. It's just focused on like corporate text marketing or something like that. But the logo looked similar and all that. I thought, oh, are you kidding me? So I started doing more research, and during like a couple of hours, I found 3 different services and companies that were using Customer Engine as a brand for some kind of product, service, or educational offering. And I was like, I don't want to go through this again, because this isn't the first time that this kind of thing happened. And it actually is pretty common. While you buy a domain name to get something started, and then somebody beats you to market with it, or with something similar using the same brand. And so sure enough, it happened. 3 different companies, all 3 of them similar logos. And we were like, this is, I think we have a good case to make legally that we got there first, and that we should have the exclusive rights to the name and be able to use it, because all of these have sprung up after we started Customer Engine and started using it commercially. So we could go through all of that. We could hire the lawyers and gear up and send out the letters, and then wait for the process to go through all that it has to go through, which can take a couple of 3 years or so to really fully adjudicate it and get it all done and get the word on whether or not we get the rights to the name, which is no guarantee. But now we've spent countless hours and dollars in order to get there. Or we could just stop where we are, acknowledge that somebody beat us, to launching websites and products, or not beat us, but just let them have it and go find a different name. And you and I tend to, we talk about this a lot, companies that are new business owners that get so caught up in the perfect name. They've got to have just, the right brand and the perfect name. Like that's going to solve all of the problems. And you and I just live by the marketing maxim that, the magic is not in the name. The magic is in the products and service behind the name.
Yep.
The name, I mean, we've looked at some ridiculously long and almost silly names that, I personally would be embarrassed to have as my company name. But these companies have done amazing things and become multi-million-dollar companies because their service and their product are just that good. So I would much rather be the kind of company that doesn't necessarily get the name they wanted, the first choice, but is focused and pouring all of their energy and effort into building the product and the service. And so we decided to pivot. And it was one of those late night discussions where, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to spend any time trying to come up with another name and make the changes and everything else. But in the end, it was like, yeah, I see the writing on the wall. I know where this is headed, and we're not going to gear up for a legal fight. We're just going to change our name. So we're going to change our name, and we're changing it to something that I actually like better. it took a little while, but I like the name that we chose, CustomerMatic. And I'll show you the logo here real quick. Let me just share my screen. Share screen.
Yep. One of the things while you're sharing your screen, I'll talk a minute. One of the things that I think is really, really interesting when it comes to marketing, there are companies that are, FedEx is a perfect example. You know them by their logo, but then there are other companies that you really don't. So, if you're known by your logo and you think somebody could look at your logo and know who you are, then maybe a name change is not something that you would do. Even though about every 5 to 10 years, have y'all noticed how BP changes their logo? Starbucks changes theirs. I mean, they freshen it up, they do something new. So, yeah, the name doesn't change, but the logo changes and some of the other things change. So that's one of the questions I get sometimes is, hey, I'm really tired of my logo. I'm tired of my name. Can I change it? Can I do it? All that kind of stuff. So, the way I feel about this is, the sooner the better in this kind of thing. Uh, the closer you can on the front end, get it changed. But if you're in business for a long time and you want to freshen up your logo or change your name a little bit, or something else has changed, you've sold it or you've bought it, and the person that bought it, or if you're the person that bought it, y'all want to change it to something else, don't be afraid to do that. There's ways to do that in a really systematic, formalized
Responsible.
way.
Yeah.
Um,
So
you know,
that leads to a common question that we get a lot since this is Q&A day. That question is just, I mean, we've been asked it a few times. Should I change my name, and what how dangerous is it to change my name midstream, or this late in the business game? I mean, I've been operating with my old company name for 20 years, and now I'm thinking that I'd really like to rebrand it to this. How dangerous is that? Are people gonna not know who I am because they know my old business brand and they don't know the new business brand? And that is a big concern, and it is something that has to be managed responsibly. Has to be done. It can't be done just flip a switch and hope that everything stays on course. It requires plenty of communicating with clients ahead of time and making sure that they know what's coming, announcing the new brand, talking about how nothing is changing but the brand. I mean, we're about to send out this exact same email to our customers and clients as well. So if you're watching this and you're a client, you'll probably get this email in the next 24 hours explaining that the people and the service and the product behind the name change is still the same. And we're still committed to, making it the best that it can be to serve our customers well. So this is the new name. And you may get people that, will weigh in and say they don't like the new name, they like the old name better. And typically these are people who don't like change, right? They would just rather things, I know you by this name, why do you have to change it? And sure, I get it. I'm that way sometimes when other people change things in my life, but, taking the time to explain it, telling them what's coming, then telling them when you do it, and then telling them after the fact that, reminding them our new name is this, this name, previously this name, kind of thing. Just helps them to feel the connection and understand, why this has changed, so that they know they're in the right place. Maybe they didn't get the memo. Maybe they didn't get the first 3 emails that you sent out about it. And so now they're on your website and they're wondering why it redirected from the old domain name to a new domain name, and why the brand is different and the logo is different. And they're wondering if they're in the right place or not, and they didn't get it all. So just a reminder on the website, announcing our new name, and here it is, and leaving that up for a couple of, years, even just to let people know that change has happened, so that all of those stragglers that weren't a part of the energy around the name change when it happened, that they catch up and understand that they're in the right place.
By the way, I think we should use Chuck's tagline. I like it. This works, must have.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. This works, must have.
Nice.
Love it. That's great. So one of the people that had one of the most successful name change in the chimney industry, I know, is Bob Ferrari. In fact, I don't even remember what his original name was.
Flu season.
Flu season, that's right. And he changed it to White Glove.
Yep.
And he went through just, all kinds of iterations and why he wanted to change it. It's very thought out, thoughtful change. And
That was a lot of fun to participate
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
changeover. We weren't the ones that drove that change. He worked with a branding agency locally that he trusted, and but when he announced it to us and told us, because we were his website partner and we needed to take his new brand and change everything out, and there was an order of operations to go through in order to make that happen and to do it responsibly. And he was one that really modeled a great example of how to do a name change. And I think he'd used Flu Season for maybe over 30 years when he made that change.
Yeah.
But, again, it's assuring people that the name doesn't change the service and the people and the product behind it. It's just, we're doing this for other reasons. We like this name. We, didn't really choose our name to begin with. We bought the business and now we want to change it, that kind of thing. So just explaining to people that things are going to continue the way that they like them. That the name is just one aspect of your company, and it's not the most important thing.
Well, man, we're 27 minutes and we haven't done one question.
Yeah, not really. Lots of housekeeping and things that we needed to talk about, though. So,
okay. Yeah. So, does anybody actually have a question? Because we are here. We'll answer a question or two. Sorry, I'm coughing here. So let me just go into what I was going to go into, because I think this is it's not exactly a question, but I think it illustrates where different people are in their businesses when they start seeking out marketing. The first gentleman is from the Northeast. I had a conversation with him at the end of last week. Very thoughtful, has multiple businesses, asked fantastic questions, talked to him about all of his businesses, all the different aspects of his business, where he was, what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it. But one of the most probably methodical, thoughtful business owners I've talked to in a long time. He's a real good idea about what he wants. Just looking for the perfect partner, and he said he's going to think about it, and he may, he's the kind of guy. I mean, I've had people think about it for 2 years and come back and say, okay, I'm ready. So, who knows? But that's one person that's got like a list of questions that he's already thought out. He's got it down. He's wanting to know all the different aspects of all the different businesses. So he's very well prepared. So that's number one. Number two, got a call from a guy on the West Coast. He's not in the chimney industry. He's in a different industry altogether. And it's a startup. And they have made do with kind of a makeshift website. And he's pretty much convinced that all he needs to have is a website. So I talked to him and broke it down with him, the type of business that he's looking at. Really talk to him about things like email marketing and network marketing, because it's one of those businesses that I believe he's going to get more business by word of mouth and being in those kind of things, and it's less consumer driven. So, not every service business is alike, and that's what you have to look at. And then I got a call from a guy who has been in business for 45 years. It's a third generation company, and he's dying. I mean, has no reviews, no anything, but the company's always run and everybody's always called, and and I had to tell him, you're a little bit too late. I mean, you're at the end of the season, you don't have any work, and marketing is not going to save you. at this point. There's some things that you're going to have to do on your own, guerrilla marketing things, because you have no money. When you call a company and ask them if they could do your marketing and you have literally no money to pay them, my question would be, would y'all go out and do the job with no money, knowing that the person is not going to pay you? So, these are the different kinds of things that we get that a lot of people, it sounds great to get marketing, but that's what I was talking about. Some people call and know exactly the type of marketing they need. Other people call thinking they need one thing when they might need another. And then others actually call thinking that marketing is the saving grace. And, thinking about marketing after the fact is never going to save you. And that's a sad thing to have to say, because some people wait so long. And again, that's lying to yourself and not realizing what the problem is. So I just want to throw that out so that people get an idea, because I talk to all different kinds of people all the time, but it's been like boom, 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 these three, and they're so different from each other that I thought it'd be really fun to just kind of talk about
It's
those
like
things.
different business owner profiles,
Yeah.
and different stages maybe in their business growth. But it is interesting to me to see how business owners think about their business, and how different they are one from the other, and not just thinking about marketing, but thinking about their business and what's important and what is a non-negotiable versus something that can wait, or that can be cut when things get tight and that kind of stuff. It's I hate it. I hate that you had to talk to somebody who has had a thriving business that's in its decline, and knowing that he's probably going to have to lay people off and become a much smaller company and go through some bumps in the road because his competitors have caught up and surpassed him. And the turnaround on that is going to be slow and painful. But it can be turned around if he can trim enough to get profitable. But that may mean going back to from a 20 truck operation to a 2-man operation and rebuilding it, because and I hate that has to happen, but sometimes that's the solution.
Well, and we've been telling people, our clients, over the last several years, hey, it's really good right now, make sure you're putting money back. Hey, it's really good right now, make sure you're putting money back. Hey, it's really, really good right now, make sure you're putting money back.
Yeah, don't tell yourself the lie that you're a business genius.
Yeah,
that everything
you're always going to be good.
Gold,
yeah,
because we're in a season where everybody's flush with cash, and it's just going to flow. It's going to come your way, and you're not going to have to do a whole lot for it. But there's coming a time.
Yeah, it always is.
And then those business fundamentals win out every time. And the people who have the cash to be able to market through a downturn in the economy, they make it. They survive longer than their competitors, and they come out on the other side much stronger than they went into it. But the people who haven't been prepared for it, who haven't set aside what they need in order to market through a downturn, it can be a fight, and it can be a scrappy, fight and struggle to keep everything afloat while you get to the other side of it.
Yeah, and I like what Chuck just put. The only constant is change, and that is really true. Once you think you've made it, haven't y'all ever made that mistake to where you say, "Man, I'm here. Man, this is the best life ever," and then it's not that I always wait. Brene Brown calls it, I can't remember the exact phrase, but she's like, when you have a baby and you stand over that baby when they're just born, and all you can think of is all the bad things that could possibly happen to that baby in their lifetime. This impending thing, and then what was joy and happiness and all this stuff ends up being this consternation and, oh my God, my baby can, something can happen to the baby. And so your business is kind of the same way. So you have to I have to be careful. I'm not putting you in this bucket. But if left to my own accord, I'm always thinking, okay, what's the next thing that could happen, and what's the next thing that could happen.
Yeah, well,
I try to hedge my bets, but I do try to enjoy.
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? I mean, every business owner is forward thinking and is not resting on their laurels for very long anyway, before they're thinking about what do I need to do next in order to perpetuate success and to continue growing. But so it's a challenge for business owners to stop in the moment and to enjoy the fruits of labor and the success that has come during that process, right? And just to enjoy it for a minute, but not camp out there, not decide this is where this is the end of the road. We're going to, this is as good as it's going to ever get. And we can just stay here and enjoy it forever and not have to do anything to continue making sure that we're an ongoing concern, that we're staying successful.
Maybe in really big businesses, but in small businesses like we have,
no, even the big ones, man. I mean, there's great stories of companies that were too big to fail. I mean, the behemoths like GE. I mean, multi-billion-dollar companies that didn't innovate quickly enough in certain things in order to stay competitive and have had to shut down entire divisions because they're no longer the company that the world looks at as the foremost leader in that area.
Yeah, I would say you're right. It's just a real interesting thing because everybody has this idea that marketing is the number one thing that you absolutely have to have. And it's one of the things that you absolutely have to have. And I think that's and I love it. I mean, I love marketing. I love what we do. I love serving the clients that we serve. So, and all that's really good. Well, guys, thank you very much for being here today. Really, really do appreciate all of you. We have this same band of brothers and sisters that show up every week, and it's great to see you. And
you guys are awesome.
Yeah, really glad y'all are here. And we have others that listen on the podcast because we also are a podcast. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or your favorite player. Next week is going to be a little bit different because next Thursday is Thanksgiving. So just real quick, I thought about putting up a replay, but I'm thinking about just skipping it. Are y'all okay if we just skip Thanksgiving and then we'll come back on the next one? And let me see real quick. If we come back on the next one, I'll tell you real quick what that's going to be. If I can get there quick enough. I don't know what day it is. That's going to be December 1st. Oh, and this is going to be fun. It's the worst SEO advice on the internet.
That's the topic?
That's the topic.
Oh, wow. How do you choose?
How do you choose? Yeah. The worst SEO advice on the internet. And so, yeah, there's some real bad stuff out there.
Well, I say let's skip next week, let everybody eat turkey and have a great Thanksgiving with family and friends, and then come back on the 1st.
I'm great with that. So we'll see all you guys back on December 1st. And again, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy your families and your time together. And I hope that you guys have to have a lot of fellowship.
Yeah, hope so too. Enjoy it. And we'll see you December
1st.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.